If you're a high-performing man, chances are society sold you on this idea that because you now have more money or more status in society, that relationships were going to be a lot easier. That you were going to have all these options and be beating them off by the truckload, and all you would have to do is choose whoever, whenever. In fact, I'm guessing you're probably thinking it's even harder to find someone now than it was before you were ever known or when you were even broke. Is it you? Or is it something else? Let's break down in this video why it takes high performers so long to find the one. First things first, it's no longer about looks. Society emphasizes the fact that once a man reaches a high status, he gets access to the top 1% of the supermodels in the world. The richer a man gets, the more beautiful his options. However, even though the top 1% does have access to the greatest supermodels, it no longer is a commodity because they're everywhere. So he starts to value moral compass, intellect, compatibility, which has now become the true commodity because the average person, once they start to elevate, they stop investing so much in themselves because things just start to become easier and they just kind of want to see what they can get out of life. The second reason why it's so difficult for high-performing men to find the one is because as your wealth increases, so do your expectations. Before you had anything to lose, you probably didn't have as high expectations for your partner because you didn't have as high expectations for yourself. But as your business acumen has increased, your own personal expectations, and your status in society, you no longer want just anyone. You want someone who can match your energy. You want someone who's going to make you look good, who has intellect, who can be a good partner, who can be compatible with you. It can no longer just be about beauty or just be about smarts. A man at this level is looking for the full package. If a woman gets with this type of man and she doesn't have all the qualities that he needs, she's gonna have to learn them very quickly, or he simply will not be able to choose her because she doesn't represent him well in society and he doesn't feel like there's a balance in the relationship. Number 3, difficulty trusting others. The richer you get, the less trustworthy everybody else becomes. As a high-value man, you'll constantly be inundated with people asking for money, favors, your time. You'll start to see best friends since kindergarten, family members, co-workers, spouses turn their back on you at the slightest opportunity to better themselves at the expense of you. This type of lifestyle really starts to jade people and has an extreme bitterness left in the mouth of anyone who experiences it. Employees, strangers, new friends, or even potential spouses become extremely difficult to trust because you've been backstabbed so many times. This is something that causes you to question your own intuition and judgment of character because as your status increases and your wealth increases, it starts to change the character of those around you. You start to ask yourself, were they ever even my real friend in the beginning, or did they ever really love me from the beginning? When it comes to finding an actual life partner, finding one that you can trust becomes extremely difficult. You don't know if you can trust your intuition, and you don't know if you can trust them or if they're going to be just like everybody else. Usually, even if you do decide to be in a relationship with someone, it takes so much time to gain real trust that you usually don't even try to put in the effort. You find it very difficult to become vulnerable, to open up emotionally, and this just makes it really difficult to connect with someone on a deeper level. So even if you are in a relationship with someone, it's kind of like you're not at the same time because you're not willing to risk exposing yourself and the downfall that could happen to you if you did that. Number 4, the partner that you do choose has to have thick skin. The criticism, judgment, harassment that comes with a man of high status is going to befall anyone who associates with him. If this partner, if this woman does not have thick skin, if she's too delicate, too gentle, too soft, isn't aware of it, doesn't understand it, she will crumble. The ideal match for this man has to be a person of equal status because they understand the publicity, they understand the scrutiny. And this is really difficult for men because usually high-performing women are either taken or hyper-masculinized. They are the ones in control. They are the ones that wear the pants. And unfortunately for him, the women that he's very attracted to, the hyper-feminine women, they're too soft, they're too delicate, they're not used to the workings of this world. So even if he does find a partner like that, they usually end up leaving because they just can't handle the scrutiny. fifth reason it's so hard for a high value man to find the one is because options don't make soulmates. If you're a high value man, you may have many options at your disposal. People in your DMs, followers, people on the street, people recognizing you, people in the office. You may come across someone every day who is trying to make their way into your love life. But as you know, just because there are all these options doesn't mean that you're going to connect with every single one of them or even a few of them. So many people tend to think that just because you're a person who has high status or high value, that somehow it's soulmate on demand, that you can just choose whoever, whenever, however, and you're somehow going to have all this compatibility, all this connection. They're going to be 100% the right person for you. Just as a light attracts many bugs, hardly any of them is going to be a butterfly. Everybody, no matter what stage they're in, still has only a certain amount of people they can truly connect with. The options that you have are just an illusion because you're getting a lot of attention. But attention doesn't equal connection. So this is the part that makes it even harder for high value men because they see that they have a lot of options, but they're not connecting, they're not resonating with a lot of them, even less than they did maybe when they were poor, when they were working their way up the ladder. So they start to question their identity, they start to question their own worth, their own sense of self, and they may even get into small toxic situationships here and there because they're trying to find out what's going on. They're trying to validate their ability to get connection. They're trying to validate their sense of self-worth. And all that really happens is tons of toxic spirals, situationships burning out because you get attached to someone from their looks, you try to validate yourself, it doesn't work because they're just taking advantage of you, they have no substance, and you're still left with someone who doesn't have compatibility, who doesn't have the respect that you're looking for, the nurturing. It becomes so confusing because this is what society told us would help us achieve the most happiness. But now you're finding yourself being wealthier than ever, more well-known than ever, and also more hated than ever, judged than ever, criticized than ever. People turning their back on you. There's no loyalty. There's no forgiveness. There's just a bunch of cancel culture. People trying to use you. No respect. People just taking advantage of you. And you're somehow wondering, where did I go wrong? Brings us to our last reason on why high-value men take so long to find the one. You no longer feel like a person, but a puppet acting in a show. The more a high-performing man lives in an environment where he's constantly scrutinized, judged, and his character is based off of every little thing that he does, it leaves very little room for error. He soon starts to realize that he cannot make errors, so he lets go over time more and more pieces of himself until he fully just puts on a mask and starts to lose his identity completely. He no longer knows who he is. He no longer knows what he likes. He no longer identifies with himself. It becomes impossible to find someone because at this point he doesn't even know who he is anymore. He's become someone who wears a mask, someone who has become a puppet that just plays the part of the role that he's built up for himself. And if he stops, everything collapses. How can he possibly find someone or connect with someone? He doesn't even know who he is. His ability to be vulnerable and honest and intentional is skewed by the fact that he can't make errors, that there's no ability to trust anyone, that the people coming after him are usually using him. So at this stage, once he's finally surrendered to the fact that he's just playing a part, he just ends up finding people who become escape mechanisms, who fill in the role of the puppet that he's created, not the role of his true partner. Society spoon feeds us this idea that the more value you have, the easier it's gonna get to find a partner, that we can just choose whoever, whenever, but that's really not the case. And if you're a high value man who's watching this and you're really struggling, after everything I just read, you may be thinking, holy crap, like I'm really doomed, because I really resonate with all of this and I really am just a puppet. I'm never gonna find anyone, and honestly, I don't even know who I am anymore. But no matter how doomed I made it seem, there is hope and there are ways to navigate this. You're gonna wanna watch the next video where I talk about how to work around this so you can find your true person and yourself again. If you really resonate with this and you want more of a customized approach, make sure to book a clarity call below so that we can help you not only find the one, but find yourself again. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.